you probably had a weekend pass. So you weren't on your ship, you were probably on shore, maybe, partying. The night before, on December 6th, they had a big celebration because all the ships, it was one of the 2 times in the year 1941 that all the ships were in Pearl Harbor at the same time. Usually half the fleet was there, half was in Lahaina on another island. They were all there because a lot of the troops and the sailors were going to go on leave for Christmas. So they had this big Battle of the Bands party the night before where they had the bands from the various ships come and compete, and the band from the USS Arizona won the competition.
Oh, wow, okay.
So they had a dance and all this good stuff. So a lot of them were not on board their ships because they were on shore, with shore leave. A lot of them were getting ready to go home. It was a Sunday morning. There was no rush to get up.
Sure.
You could just take your time, do things. Of course, they had set times when they had to go to breakfast and things like that. But security was fairly lax. There was supposed to be an inspection of the ships on Monday morning. So a lot of the guys were doing maintenance on the ships. They had the hatches open, which they normally would be closed. The watertight bulkhead doors and things like that. So like I said, security was lax. People just weren't expecting anything because traditionally in this country, Sunday is a day of rest.
Right.
And the Japanese knew that. So that's one of the reasons why they planned the attack for a Sunday morning, because they figured, we would not be on our guard and they would be able to carry out this attack without much problem. So it was basically kind of an air of, relaxed, nothing's going to happen today kind of attitude.
And I guess that would go for the whole state of our armed forces. I guess not really on a heightened awareness because we're not involved in in World War II. So as far as we're concerned, going back to that thing, it's what's happening over there, and it's not here. So it's not anything we really have to worry about.
Right. They were more concerned in Washington about something happening than they were at Pearl Harbor. Now the weird thing was that one of the weird things I find, they had decoding machines that were decoding the Japanese naval code that we had broken several years before. They had decoding machines in Washington. They had them in the Philippines. They had them in several other places. They didn't have one at Pearl Harbor, which that was our main naval base in the Pacific. You'd think they'd have one. No.
It would be the closest to the Japanese that any not just naval base, any base, any military would be that closest to that country.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and in Washington they were decoding messages, and they were also getting intelligence from other governments, the Dutch, the British, the Koreans, the Chinese, and several others had pretty much told Washington the Japanese were planning something in the Pacific. What they weren't sure of was the date, the time, and the target. They knew something was going on. Well, the morning, of course, in Washington, they're several hours ahead of Hawaii.
Right.
In Washington, they had decoded what was the 14th part of a 14-part message that the Japanese had sent because they were negotiating with us for peace in the Pacific kind of thing. And it sent up red flags in Washington. It sounded like they were telling their embassy to burn all their code machines, to burn all their sensitive papers, and you don't do that unless something big's going to happen.
Right.
So these red flags went up in Washington, and they decided they had better let Pearl Harbor know there was a possibility something might happen. So they were going to send them a radio message, but the atmospherics were wrong. They couldn't get through, so they went to Western Union and sent them a telegram.
Wow.
Yeah, which would take quite a while to get there.
Yeah.
So by the time it got there, it was